Hey, AnnapolisBound.com. This is Yale with video number 2. And I am happy because in my first video, I got some good feedback via Reddit about some applicant questions. And I went through Google today to find other sources of questions that could be answered on this. I don't even want to call it a podcast. This video series for midshipman candidates. And if you haven't been to my website or familiar with AnnapolisBound.com, my name is Yale, and I am the um, owner and content creator here, writing and creating videos about best practices for Naval Academy applicants, whether you're enlisted or coming out of high school, or maybe you're in college already and transferring to the Naval Academy is something on your agenda. So what I'm going to do today is go through uh, several questions like I did last time, but this time on a different website. I'm just pulling it up right now. Let's see here. This website is called serviceacademyforums.com. I think this was around back when I was in high school in the early 2000s. And it looks like people here are still active. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see where I'm pulling these questions from. And we're going to get started here. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen now. And I see a lot of questions, and we're going to look at the top ones here. This one here has a lot of replies. 2026 state nominations thread. Okay, I don't think this is my wheelhouse, but I'm going to go through some things where maybe there aren't a lot of questions being answered. Let's see. Some of these questions are very specific. Let's try. There's Merchant Marine. Oh, this is all service academies. I did forget this. So let's try this first one here. Oh, that's Coast Guard. Let's go to. Okay. Is NAPS still a possibility? I went to NAPS, so why not answer this question? A few weeks ago, I received an LOA, which, if I remember correctly, stands for Letter of Appointment, with the only unfulfilled condition being to receive a nomination. Okay, sounds familiar. After a long wait, I have received all my nomination decisions, and unfortunately, they were all rejections. I did apply to the VP from a few weeks ago, so there is still, do they mean the vice president? Okay. So there is still a chance of direct appointment, but I was wondering if NAPS was still a possibility. I do know that you can receive an appointment to NAPS without a nomination, but I always thought it was for individuals who need an extra year of academics. Will they appoint someone to NAPS with an excellent academic record simply because he or she didn't get a nomination? Okay, this is a good question. I was not in the same exact boat, but I'd like to see what other people are saying. NAPS is used for candidates that need academic strengthening to help ensure they can be successful. You may still get that VP norm. I think they meant nom. Make sure you're tending to plan B. If you're fully qualified with a LOA and no nomination, then NAPS is not likelihood. In your case, it's not over until it's over. However, you could still get a VP nomination. There is also the superintendent's nomination, which is rare, but requires nothing in the way of an application from you. My DD was similar. Okay, there's some good questions here. Okay. So I'm going to answer this from the perspective of someone who's been to NAPS and had not so good grades or shitty grades when I was in high school. So from my recollection, there were people at NAPS that had good grades in high school. And I believe NAPS, in my experience, was a place where they sent people with some type of deficiency that could be resolved via 1 year of preparatory school. So in most cases, I do think that whoever wrote this question, your speculation is correct. I do think academics, like remedial in academics, is the number one reason why people get sent to NAPS. But I also do think that there are people there who were deficient in other areas or may have gone to or apply from a district or part of the U.S. where there's a lot of competition, and NAPS was a form of a wait list for them rather than getting in directly. Because if you think about it logically, at least in my mind, if you are, let's say, a student in high school with a 3.8 or 3.9 GPA, and you only had a B here and there, and you were denied acceptance, and you were very close to getting that nomination via your congressman or woman, I do not see why you would be less qualified than someone who, let's say, had a 2 something GPA and was further down the ladder, if you will. And in terms of bigger picture, I don't see how you could be someone who would be seen as more of a risk as someone who could be a potential midshipman at the U.S. Naval Academy. So when I look at applicants and when I think about the next best step for them, if the Naval Academy is something they're dead set on, keep in mind, you do not need to attend straight out of high school. You have until your, I believe, your 23rd birthday to keep applying until you are accepted. And before you even fast forward to, I'm assuming you're 18, before even fast forwarding to your 20s, I would consider finding out why you were not given a nomination, and ask in a very professional and courteous way so that you can find out how to improve your resume so that you can acquire that nomination. I believe there are other routes you can take. I saw someone on this thread mentioned NROTC, and I don't think I saw this, but there are people who come in from the fleet that go to NAPS, and I don't know if I remember correctly, but some of them may have done well in high school and decided enlisting was the best route for them. And then during their enlistment, they found that things were not as challenging for them as they wanted to be and felt a calling to be an officer for whatever reason. So, for whoever this is, Sam0704, I recommend finding out why you didn't get your nomination. And if you don't find out why that is, figure out and do your best to objectively analyze your application. If grades were fine, and let's say I believe it's called the CFT, the Candidate Fitness Test, or CFA, Candidate Fitness Assessment, if that was fine and you had a well-rounded application, I assume that your nomination didn't get through because you may have not given your congressman or woman an idea of the kind of leader you can be. And it may have been through an interview process or your essay, but a lot of times when I hear about people who were very qualified on paper to receive an appointment to the U.S. Naval Academy, but didn't get through on their first attempt, I believe they didn't get that nomination because they were lacking in the framing of why they should become a naval officer commissioned out of the U.S. Naval Academy. They didn't communicate enough value to their congressman or woman as someone who would give that congressman or woman credibility in giving that appointment away. So I hope you didn't take your lack of a nomination personally, but I would find out and try to get an objective answer as to why you didn't get this appointment, and do your best to get in touch with someone, whether it be a blue and gold officer or maybe someone from the admissions office, or even someone from the office of the congressman or woman, as to why you just didn't get that nomination. Because I do believe if you're courteous and professional enough, you can get a logical answer here. So I'm going to do one more scan to see if anybody else answered something that could be useful or confusing. Let's see. Yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more about your background, because without knowing more about you, it's kind of hard to answer this accurately. All right, let's go to another question here. Application review. Here we go. Let's take a look. Does anyone know the process USNA has for when they review which applications? My DS application has been complete with 3 nominations since November. We aren't expecting that he would have heard yet. Just wondered if, because it is complete, it's been reviewed. Is it possible that other applications complete and incomplete? Just curious. I have no idea. Whoever's asking this sounds anxious and is not, I mean, I assume they're very anxious about getting some news or feedback soon, but regardless of what I tell you, I don't think this is going to help you. Maybe it might give you some peace of mind, but it sounds like you're just waiting. So wait until you get whatever final result that you get, and from there, I think you can get some valuable feedback as to next steps. But I don't know. I don't even understand your question very well. So, yeah, I'm sorry. You're living. You're living in the the future here. So just wait. And yeah, there's people talking about all sorts of things. But I don't think they're doing you any good here because what does it matter? All right, I'm gonna go back. Let's go to another question here. Usafa or Usna? Let's take a look at this one. Hey everyone, so I come from a district around 30 minutes or so from Annapolis, which I would assume is extremely competitive. I think you're assuming correctly. My question is, would it still be worth it to put USNA as my number one choice? Or would it make more sense to have another service academy as my top choice since the rest are out of state? Oh, I don't know exactly what this means for them. I assume they're talking about something they have to put down on their application. And I don't think it's smart to be playing any kind of games here. Just be direct and honest about what you want. Put USNA as your number one choice. If it's not your number one choice, why? I mean, if it is your number one choice, why make it your number 2 or 3 choice? It makes absolutely no sense to me. So make it your number one choice. Understand why it is your number one choice. Maybe the U.S. Air Force Academy is better for you, but it sounds like you're not sure. So what I recommend is like you probably did to Annapolis, make a trip to Colorado Springs, get a tour, and figure out if that's the place for you, or at least get a better understanding, because it sounds like you're not exactly sure what you want, and people who aren't sure what they want have a much lower chance of being accepted because it's very clear and evident in your application when you're not sure what you want. Let's take a look at some of these answers, make sure there isn't any bad advice going on here. I think if you want to attend an academy and become an officer, it's fine to make this decision strategically. While you'd obviously get a different experience with either path, it's really the same premise, so it makes sense to not get a strong preference if the priority is just attending an academy. I don't know if your district is more competitive or less for Navy versus Air Force, but if it is, maybe it does make sense to put Air Force as your first choice. Okay, yeah, I could see some logic here, but I don't like this answer. The thing with basing your choice on the specific career options is you frankly have no idea what you're getting into. I assume you're 17 now and will be 22 when you commission if you get in. That's a time of significant development. Your life priorities may evolve. You'll also talk to many officers from different communities to understand what their jobs entail. So personally, I wouldn't consider the career options too deeply unless you know you are dead set on. Okay, so there's some good advice here about not beating yourself up about knowing exactly where you want to be in the future. But what I do disagree with here is um, being strategic about this. Um, you know, if if you're going to the Air Force Academy because you're more likely to get in and you don't like it, while you may have won the battle um, as far as getting into an academy goes, you may be miserable, and deep down inside, you may have, you know, you may find that being in naval community is better suited for you. So I would do some more research here because this person is giving you, I think, like okay advice. There's some truth to what they're saying, but I think overall um, it's a little ambiguous and not exactly what you want to do. Because if you want to go to the Naval Academy, make that your number one choice. Because if you put them as your number two choice and then a year from now you decide they're your number one choice, that's already on paper that they were once your number two or number three preference. Okay, so don't um, change because of what you think other people are gonna be happy about. Okay, let's see if there's anything else here worth discussing. Okay, simple fact. This person sounds very matter of fact. Simple fact. It takes only one candidate with better credentials than yours to make a district competitive. Okay. So while your district may have fewer nominees from USAFA than for USNA, that doesn't necessarily mean it'll be easier for you. Focus less on gaming the system. Okay, I agree with this. I've read plenty of examples here about on Service Academy forums of where that backfires and more on determining fit. Both places can lead to aviation. Both places have amazing cultures. Think about what you do if you didn't or couldn't get aviation. Which branch? Okay, so whoever is mid-cake PA, I like your advice. Focus less on gaming the system. 100%. You're 100% correct about that. I think you're being a little hyperbolic when you say it takes only one candidate with better credentials. Um, I mean, yeah, if you're oversimplifying things, but a competitive district usually means you live in a place with a lot of candidates applying and with good grades and good applications. And uh, that's a lot of the mid-Atlantic. That's a lot of the bigger cities and maybe some of the more conservative parts of America. But um, yeah, that's a little bit of an oversimplification here. Okay, let's see one more. This is interesting to me. Okay, that's about it. I don't want to linger here too much because I think they got the answer here. All right, let's see. Anything else on this first page worth discussing that I am competent in? Let's see here. All right, let's go to page 2. Okay, here's an interesting one. Current plebe at USMA. Okay. I went to the Naval Academy, but this is worth taking a look at. Oh, this person's offering advice. Never mind. Okay. All right. Oh, candidate visit weekend. I remember mine. Let's take a look. Does everyone get offered to come to candidate visit weekend at USNA, or is it select people that get offered? I actually don't remember. It sounds like the answer is no. I did not get rejected. I did make a candidate visit weekend when I was in high school. I think it was 2007 that I did my candidate visit weekend. Let's see here. But I highly recommend it if you have the opportunity, because you do get to room with a plebe, and I think that's a pretty cool experience and enlightening. It might be a little, what's the word? Not constructed. It might not be the best picture of what a typical day at the Naval Academy is, because I do think they try to give you an experience that is meant to encourage you to apply or keep going through the process. But yeah, I think it's, regardless, if you're very observant, it's a good experience. So let's go back to the question. Does everyone get offered? Sounds like the answer is no. I don't remember exactly, but I think that's true. But I want to know why you're asking. Is it too late? Um, are you concerned you're not going to get an offer to visit? No, at the least, go to the admissions office and get the briefing from whoever the TAD ensign is, and they might be able to help you out. All right, let's take a look at another few questions here. Seeing a lot of medical related stuff. Oh, here's an interesting one. Relationships going into an academy. This is more personal. I didn't know where to put this discussion thread, so I just put it in off topic. So I am in a relationship and have been for 2.5 years, and we are serious about each other. Oh, it's the same person. Going into the academy, is it even possible for us to continue to date and see each other, or is it pretty much impossible realistically? Has anyone had any experience or tried to keep? Okay. So this person hasn't heard about the 2% Club. That's a name. It's a fictitious club given to those midshipmen who've been able to maintain a relationship from high school to commissioning day. And the name it has a pretty self-explanatory name. The idea being you were part of the 2%, a rare group that was able to do that. But my recommendation here, because this person sounds a little unsure and reminds me of a few classmates that I had that were in relationships as incoming plebes, is you got to put your Naval Academy experience first. And it sounds harsh, but I'm assuming you're 17 or 18 years old. And the reality is there are many, many fish in the sea. And you're not even a quarter of the way through your life. Supposedly, you live a long life, if you live a long life. But if you pass up something like the Naval Academy, which could be a very good opportunity for you because of a relationship, I think you're really not thinking clearly. And I'm not telling you to break up with your girlfriend. Um, it's not exactly what you want to hear, but uh, if you have a good girlfriend, I think they're going to be supportive. And I'm not telling you it's going to be easy because you're going to have a limited time to see her. And if it's really somebody that you want to keep around and maintain a relationship with, um, going to the Naval Academy shouldn't be an issue. If anything, it should strengthen things because you're doing something that is aligned with what I imagine to be your purpose in life. And it should be inspiring. It should be a positive experience. You should be coming out as a better person, as a better man, and as a better leader. So if there's somebody that you're with, um, and they're not about that, that's okay. For that person too, there's plenty of fish in the sea, but I wouldn't make a decision to attend the Naval Academy based on a relationship because it's not like you're 40 years old and have been married for 15 or 20 years or even 10 years. You're in high school and you're really um, potentially wasting an opportunity to make a better life for yourself and do and see things that not a lot of Americans are able to do in their lifetime. So rethink your question here, buddy, because you could be wasting an opportunity. Could be, I'm saying. Maybe the Naval Academy is not for you. All right, let's do a couple more here. I-Day class of 2026. Let's take a look. Anyone have knowledge of when class of 2026 I-Day info goes out? I found the 2021 I-Day parent and info booklet, and it looked like it was a Tuesday. Wondering if it will be moved to a 2-day again. Not a big deal. Oh, okay, so this is more of a logistics question, and I don't think they're really worried about anything um, like application related. Sounds like they're in, but they're more planning out logistics. I don't have an answer for you, buddy, but I'm sure you'll get an answer. And looks like you posted this recently, so maybe you'll have an answer soon, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. People have gone through here just fine, having misplaned an I-Day or family gathering. So don't worry, buddy. Okay. Let's see here. Any other good questions on this page? All right, CFA passed, but will it ding my application? Let's take a look. Hello, I am at the end of my application with all check marks checked off, medically qualified, and CFA says qualified. I have heard here that CFA is pass fail with very poor passing scores, getting a little ding, and very great scores, getting a little bump. I also heard that they will look at it differently if you're a varsity athlete. But probably, I consider myself to be an accomplished swimmer. I've heard elsewhere. Okay, so this person's a good swimmer, allegedly, and worried about having a ding based on poor candidate fitness assessment scores. So let's take a look. Pull-ups 3. How did you get 3 pull-ups if you're a good swimmer? If anything, I would think that would be the the best thing on the best exercise for you. Okay. Push-ups 38, not great. I don't remember how good of a throw 51 feet is. Shuttle run, crunches. Okay, so this person's not in terrible shape, but they're not in great shape either, based on Naval Academy standards. So I think their overall question is this crappy score or result gonna hurt him or her? It depends. It's not a great answer, but if you are as accomplished as you say you are on your swimming resume, your hunch is correct. It's not going to hurt you because you have an accomplishment. But there's questions here, right? Like the questions I just asked. You know, if you're an accomplished swimmer, how come you only manage 3 pull-ups? You know, you should be able to do a lot more if you're a swimmer because you should have developed back muscles. The mile run tends to be there tends to be some leniency here because swimmers don't make great runners and runners don't make great swimmers. But you should be able to answer or at least help someone connect the dots as to why you got the score that you did. So if there's a way for you to, you know, let the admissions office know, hey, this is my score, but this is what I'm doing to address this. And I have already recognized my deficiencies and have a plan in place. That's a very logical and like leader-like approach to success and personal development and it lines up with the mission of the U.S. Naval Academy. So fighter jet lover, I hope you do not take my feedback personally, but I would hope that you use this as motivation to improve your application and go out there and crush your next PRT or candidate fitness assessment so that there are no questions about your potential here because they're not looking for someone who is gonna barely pass or not improve. If you didn't get the ideal score, they want to get some type of indication that you're going to improve, that you're not going to constantly be in remedial PT and be a liability and additional cost to the Navy because of your deficiencies, if that makes sense. I hope that wasn't too harsh, but that's the honest truth. So I'm going to get out of here, maybe answer a few more. Yeah, I keep saying that, but there are some good points here that and some memories coming out of the cobwebs. Looking through this forum here. Let's see. It is interesting for me to see how many parents are in this forum. It sounds a little, it comes across as very keeping up with the Joneses. So if you're a parent on here, I respect the dedication you have for your children, but I'm getting a lot of helicopter parent vibes here. Let's take a look. Can USNA ever be fun? Let's take a look at this one. Okay, this person answered a question earlier. No one goes to the Naval Academy to have fun. That's not true. I think you have to be a little sadistic, first of all, if you want to go to a service academy, because you're getting excited about having unpleasurable experiences. So don't be so hyperbolic here, buddy. One goes to be shapen into an officer. Okay. This person's really sipping on the Kool-Aid here. This process does not directly require fun activities. All right, buddy. I still, however, just wondered as I'm going through my application, does anyone have any particular things that they enjoyed at the academy? I also guess that in the most case, you don't have time for fun, and each person's definition of enjoyable things varies. It's what people have to say. Okay, so I'm going to answer your subject line first. CB Assalto 1. Yes, the U.S. Naval Academy can be fun. And if you don't think it's going to be fun at all, I don't think this is the place for you. That sounds harsh, but I remember when I was in high school, I got very excited about going here. I was excited about meeting like-minded people and learning new things and doing cool things around the world and being trained by very skilled and capable people. So yes, the Naval Academy can be fun, but if those things don't sound fun to you, I'm not sure if this is the place for you. And I'm not trying to be harsh or negative here, but that's my honest answer. So you're not correct. People do go to the Naval Academy to have fun. It's that their definition of fun isn't exactly what you're defining it as. Yes, there's a lot of times where things aren't fun, but that's anywhere. You know, you go to Harvard or even Arizona State, there's going to be times where you're not having fun. Obviously, a service academy is much more strict of a lifestyle, but you know, this has been around for years, and if it's that much of a terrible place, I don't think they would be getting repeat business from civilians committing to at least 4 years of a military experience, right? There's a lot of benefits to going too. I still, however, just wondered as I am going through my application, does anyone have any particular things? For me, I did enjoy meeting a lot. For me, my classmates were the things, or were the part of the Naval Academy that made my experience the most fun. I still have friends to this day that I consider family, and I know they consider me family as well. And these are friendships that'll last forever. And I don't think that you can really get that level and quality of friendship in a lot of places. This is one of the few collegiate experiences where you can get that. And I think that's something you can't buy. So I think that's something that I really enjoyed, was making those friendships. I also enjoyed a lot of the opportunities that you get that you don't really or ever will get at another institution. So there are some cool summer trainings that you'll have available to you. You're gonna have lots of opportunities to go on leave to places where you may not have even considered while attending another school or even working. Maybe you don't go to school and you end up working. Now, there's a lot of fun organized activities, I should say, that are made available to you as a midshipman. And let's see what else. You know, I'm just gonna go back to the friends aspect. You know, a lot of the sucky things that that seem really boring and challenging and stressful, you get through them with your friends. So your classmates, if you decide to go. So those are the things that I enjoyed. A lot of good memories. I also guess that in the most case, you don't have time for fun. Not true. So this reminds me of some of the things that I did with my classmates to have fun. I remember when I was a plebe, we did get opportunities to enjoy media privileges or things along those lines on a Friday night when plebes are not allowed to go out to town or have an overnight. So we would do things like have a party in a way in one of our rooms. Like I bought a bunch of these strobe lights and speakers when I was a plebe, and my roommates and I would throw these like little raves, quote unquote, where our classmates would come in and we would just you know have fun. It was very probably cheesy looking in and and corny, but these are your classmates. We're all experiencing the same sacrifices and rules that you don't get in other universities and colleges. And if you really have a positive attitude, you can find ways to have fun with your classmates. So I had a lot of good memories. Even going to the gym. If you have a friend at the Naval Academy that takes their physical development seriously, it might be enjoyable for you and your classmate to train together and develop yourselves and stay committed. That was an aspect that I will always cherish about the Naval Academy is the opportunity to be laser focused at a place like that. You are in a place where you have a lot of distractions eliminated for you. So in that circumstance, you have a golden opportunity to really focus in on a hobby that you might want to develop or skill. It might be playing guitar. It might be I had a roommate who was really into making music, so he had like an electronic keyboard that he plugged into his uh, his desktop and would make music. So there are ways, especially with the internet, you can still have fun, um, while at the Naval Academy. It doesn't have to be a really crappy experience. And it looks like there's some sarcastic answers on here, but I hope that was enjoyable for you, or informative, I should say. All right, let's do one more question, and then we're going to wrap it up for today. Let's see here. A lot of interesting questions here. A lot of Dodmerb related things. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Then we're going to wrap it up. Checklist complete. The only item not checked off on my application is the medical examination. However, I completed that a few months ago and was found to be disqualified by Dodmerb for an ACL reconstruction less than 12 months ago. I emailed and called my admissions counselor, but haven't heard anything back. My question is, whether that box should be checked off by now because I completed the medical exam, or will it be checked off if a waiver is pursued? Okay, it looks like somebody answered this after waiver is granted. And I didn't know the answer to this. So let's go back and answer one more because I did not, I was not being very useful for that person. SAT scores and admissions. Okay, I can answer this. Does admissions look at the whole candidate, or does the candidate with the highest SAT score? Oh, come on. This is an easy question. It's the whole candidate. If they looked at the highest SAT score, we would just be getting, or the Naval Academy would just be getting a bunch of people who are good at academics, or maybe even good at just the SAT or standardized test, but they may be deficient in a lot of other areas. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean they're a good leader or a potential naval officer. So whoever former CTR is, they're looking at the whole candidate. And I think you knew the answer to that, but you wanted to hear something else. So I hope that answers your questions. And if you don't have a great high SAT, if you don't have a great SAT score, I would say at least aim to get a minimum of a 1300 on your SAT. That's not bad. So a 1300 between the math and reading section will be pretty useful for your application here. All right, I'm going to stop here. That is it for today. And if you haven't already, make sure to click like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who is applying to the U.S. Naval Academy and wants to be Annapolis bound. And be sure to check out AnnapolisBound.com for new content. And if you haven't already, and do find value in the content that I'm sharing with you, please be sure to subscribe to the Gouge membership on AnnapolisBound.com. So this is Yale from AnnapolisBound.com, and I will see you later. Good luck.